I'm scared of my boyfriend's dad. I, 21F, have been with my boyfriend, 21M, for about 10 months, 11 in November. I just want to clarify I'm a mixed female African American and Native American. My skin is very light brown, and my boyfriend is white. He comes from a very Republican yeehaw family, which I don't have a problem with. But his father makes me feel so uncomfortable. The first time I've met this man was on our third date, when we hung out at my boyfriend's house, and his father stood in the doorway and was staring at me the whole time till I left. I didn't pay too much attention to that, because I'm a stranger. He doesn't know me and I don't know this man. But anyway, fast forward to the end of May. My boyfriend and I decided we wanted to start living together. Only temporary, while I'm on summer vacation from college and on school breaks or holidays. I'd come and visit, so we started looking for houses to rent. We find one in a small town, and everything was fine till about the middle of June. His father started showing up to the house while my boyfriend wasn't home, and it was just me. Sometimes he would just drive by, and other times he would park in the front yard and sit there. It was very odd, and I told my boyfriend what he was doing, and he kinda shook it off, saying he was just checking on the house, making sure everything was going okay. And I was, that's kinda weird. We're adults, but I digress anyway. A couple weeks go by, and I started seeing his father's car drive by my place of work a couple times after closing, which I thought was odd, and brought it up, and he called his dad and said, expressed to him to not do that anymore, because it was making me uncomfortable. And his dad got upset that I said that, and they stopped talking for a couple of days. Then that's when the real problem started. Another thing to clarify, my boyfriend has a problem with not locking the front door at night. We live on the quiet part of town with friendly neighbors anyway last week, around 1-something in the morning. My boyfriend and I are sleeping. I'm laying on my boyfriend's chest, I'm naked mind you, and his father busted up into our house and is recording a video with the flash on in the dark. I couldn't comprehend what was going on, but I felt a stinging on my back. My boyfriend starts screaming at his dad to get out, and his dad is refusing to leave. He asked him to leave the room and go into the living room because we're both vulnerable at the moment. He's still recording at this point, while my boyfriend is screaming at him in the living room. His dad is screaming back. I walk into our bathroom to rush to put clothes on. When I get into the bathroom, I see a red handprint on my back, from where his dad had hit me, to wake me or us up. I just started sobbing on the floor, because I couldn't comprehend what the problem was, as I'm on the floor. I hear the front door slam, and my boyfriend came back to the room and saw me. He asked what was wrong, and I told him to look at my back. The look of anger and sadness on his face was very hard to understand. We eventually got out the bathroom and got dressed and headed to the police station. As we're on the way to the police station, my phone is getting spam called with no called ID, back to back. Then I get a load of messages calling me names, slurs saying I'm not good enough and I'm not a pure breed, whatever that means. Mind you, I'm still crying, and my boyfriend is crying to comfort me while I'm receiving these awful texts. We get to the police station to file a report, and when we go there, we wrote a statement, waited for the sheriff, and when the sheriff got there, he said he won't be able to do anything, and writing the statement was pointless because the judge isn't going to take it. Me and my boyfriend and I are just looking at each other in awe because his father just physically harmed me, and there's nothing they can do. We asked if he was going to take pictures, and he said no, and we went home in defeat. Fast forward maybe about 8 this morning, I hear a banging on our front door, and I look through the peephole, and it's his father kicking and screaming through door screaming to let him in mind. My boyfriend is gone to work, and it's just me in the house alone. I call the police, and his father waited till they got here, and his father told the police I had stolen something wrong from his, how I assured I've never been to this man's house, but once, earlier in the year, and I'd expressed the police officer. He's already assaulted me, and I don't feel comfortable with him on my property. Then the police don't do anything. They just tell him to go home, and he, in fact, did not go home. He parked in the street in front of our house. I called my boyfriend immediately and explained what was going on, and he said he'd be there shortly afterwards. Eventually, he got there, argued with his father, and then the dad peeled off and went home. IDK guys, I really need some guidance. I'm genuinely scared. Who knows what could have happened if I opened that door this morning? I just need some suggestions or anything. Update. I just wanted to say I'm thankful for everyone's kind words and encouragement to leave the situation I was in. But this past week from the post has been awful. Right after the police left from my house that morning, I got a ton of angry text messages from my boyfriend's stepmother saying, I had no right to call the police. Everything is my fault. My kind of people are nothing and useless. And I didn't respond. I just showed my boyfriend and told him what his stepmother was saying to me, and he shrugged it off and explained to just block her, which made me very upset. We had a sit-down talk about everything, and it seems like he didn't care, or more, it felt like he could just shrug it off, which made me start bawling. I expressed to him that I couldn't be around these people without them threatening me or hurting me, and I didn't feel, he said, maybe try being nice to them. I'm going to be completely honest. I went into rage and I started screaming at him, out of anger, expressing that he isn't doing anything to protect us, or our relationship, privacy, or home. And he didn't say anything to me, just looked at me and went to our bedroom. I didn't know what to do. So I grabbed my keys, went on a drive for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm calming down. And then I get a text from my boyfriend asking me to come home to talk. And when I get there, he's sitting at the kitchen table with his arms crossed. I ask him what he wanted to talk about, and he walked up to me and slapped me across the face. He yelled at me saying he's the man of the house, and I should have never been loud with him in his home. And I shouldn't disrespect him. If I had a problem with his parents, then that's on me. I've never seen this side of my boyfriend before. He has never been physical with me or even yelled at me. I'm more shocked than hurt. At this point, I'm not crying. But I'm surprised that he actually did that. I look at him and he's looking at me. Then he walks off to the living room. I've witnessed this kind of behavior from my parents, and that is not how I wanted to live. As he's in the living room, I called my mother all the way up in North Texas, and I explained what was going on and asked if I could come home, and she said yes. I didn't say anything to my boyfriend, packed my things, and left. As soon as I got to my mother's, I just started sobbing, crying, telling her about everything, my whole situation, and she said nothing was my fault, and I should have known the first time meeting his dad that he wasn't going to like me from my skin color, and I agreed. She was right. So, after 3 days, it's a Sunday, and my boyfriend texted me saying he was sorry, and he let his father get in his head and tell him things that weren't true by saying I was cheating and selling my body. I have a secret OnlyFans, and my boyfriend believed it. So his father told him the only way to make my people, or women like me, to behave themselves is to beat them. My boyfriend took that into consideration, and that's when he hit me and lashed out on me. He also expressed how sorry he was, and he'd never do it again. If I came home and he missed me, he basically apologized for everything and how blind he has been to the whole situation. I didn't respond to the text till about Monday night, because I've leaned from my parents. If he hits you once, he'll do it again. No matter how empathetic they are, I texted back saying, I forgive you, but I don't accept your apology. I can't keep dealing with your parents and the drama, the constant harassment, and I also told him I can't be with him anymore. I loved him, but I couldn't keep living in fear of what his dad might do to me if he ever gets me alone. After I sent that long message, he responded with a very hateful message, filled with slurs and hateful comments, body shaming me, and just in general being hateful. And that's when I realized I made the right decision by leaving him. Thanks to everyone in the previous post suggesting me too. I've been with my mom since Friday of last week, and it's Thursday. And I felt so much relief not being in that environment. The more I've been away from him, the more I started to realize I was being abused. Not physically, but emotionally. I'm 5'0" and 140-something pounds. And I never really took his comments about my body or complexion into consideration because I never seen myself as fat or ugly. But I was always very scared to eat around him, or even at restaurants. I'd order water or just get a salad or just eat the bread that was offered, which now I realize is wrong. After I sat down and talked to my mom about everything from beginning to end, also didn't realize that it was a fetish for men to be overly rough with your partner in bed. He would cover my mouth, degrade me, choke me, spit in my face. Nothing is wrong with that stuff. It's just not my preference in the bed now. I'm not vanilla, but definitely not into the hardcore extreme stuff. Like he is, which was also a red flag, considering I have caught him watching porn that contained that stuff, which I didn't mind at the time because I guess he's a man, they watch that stuff, and I thought it was okay. Because, I guess again, he's a man, he has a desire to experiment. I'm willing to do anything once, but I expressed I didn't like that stuff he was trying to do, and it just kept happening over time. I got used to it because he liked it, and I wanted him happy. Like I said in his first real relationship. So trying new things is normal, but the more I think about it, it was wrong on both ends, especially mine for not expressing it enough for to him. Anyway, I've cut all contact with him and his family, and I've started my classes again for my profession. I want to go into, and this is the happiest I've been in a long time. I'm meeting new people in this area, which is nice. No one knows me, and I don't know them, just a breath of fresh air and comfort to not be scared everywhere I go. I start therapy on Monday, and I feel like I can start bettering myself for the future with this clean slate my mom and I have created.